What's up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Kingdom Rivals. In today's episode, I'm going to show you a few updates made to the area that we worked on in last episode, with some of the changes from 1.17 Part 1, as well as the boats. And so we're going to start working on the boat area. I'm going to show you some of the work that I've already done to the boats, and we're going to get that area done. And so we're just kind of working our way from over here to the boats, and then we're just going to kind of keep working our way down and around the base until we get everything done. So for this area, as you can see, I've got a couple of goats kind of hanging out over there. So I've updated the bushes that we made in the last episode with the azalea leaves, which is actually really pretty, because in the frozen biome you get all the desaturated colors because everything is cold, but for the azalea leaves, they don't appear to change color with the biome. So this is actually really bright and really pretty. So I really like that a lot. And I don't know if that's something that Mojang intended, or if they're going to change it at some point so that it melds with the biomes better, but I personally hope they don't change it, because this gives people that live in the frozen tundra and all the cold biomes actually saturated colors, as well as all the people that live in like the desert and the savannah, where everything is really dry, and so usually it has like a yellowish hue to it. They can actually get full colored leaves, which is really awesome. So these were changed out for these leaves, and then in the central planter here, I just included some of the flowering azalea bushes, and I think that's the only change that I made to this area. I wanted to leave these leaves the same just to kind of give some more variety to this space, but I think it really works together really nicely, and this area is just looking more and more complete all the time, which is super cool. I think with the addition of the goats, I think I may move some of the horses around, so I'll show you the idea that I have for that in just a sec, but this is one of the things that I wanted to show you guys that I added after last episode, because if you remember, this was kind of just an empty space. But I made it just a little storage for hay bales, and so it fills the space, it adds some color and some variety in the textures. So with my castle, when I was kind of outlining everything, I left this kind of corner untouched, because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with it, because it looks perfect to either extend this wall from here around and then meet up with it, or kind of make a little kind of inset corner. But I think I might actually make a horse stable area over here, instead of having the horses over with the sheep and the cows, and then that way that'll free up both of those pens over there so that we can have one for the goats, and we can have one for like pigs or something else, and just kind of get some variety over here. But that way these guys can actually have a home instead of just being stuck to this fence post. But it's almost nighttime, so I'm actually going to fly in here and show you one of the other changes that I made, which is very subtle and is very dynamic. But I got a couple axolotls, and so they live in this fountain, which one of my concerns would be that they would leave the fountain, and they are an amphibious mob, but I've heard that they dry up and die if they're outside of water for too long. So that was definitely one of my concerns with putting them in here. But it seems that they do a pretty good job of pathfinding their way back into this area if they happen to climb out of the fountain. And then it's actually super cute because they will swim up to the different layers of the fountain like that guy's doing right now, and so they'll kind of like dance around. But I just thought this was a super cute addition, and the axolotls are absolutely such an adorable mob. It's the addition to the fountain with just axolotls, so super adorable. And then you can probably kind of catch glimpses of what has changed in the throne room. One of the things that's changed is that my polar bear is no longer on lead attached to the throne, and I don't know where the lead went or how he got off. So we'll deal with that later, but he can just kind of chill there. But I did find some geodes, and so I got some amethyst blocks and changed kind of the backdrop of this from just all quartz to break it up with the amethyst blocks, because I think that's so pretty. And so we got some here in these corners and then over there, and then kind of framing the throne. And then the throne was changed from a bunch of different of the warped woods and like the crimson woods to the quartz, so that it kind of fits better with the amethyst blocks and it's not as busy. Because I had tried to make it out of the calcite blocks that are available, but I don't think that you can actually change those into like stairs or slabs, and so I went with the quartz instead of the calcite. But if there is a way to unlock the recipe for changing calcite, please let me know. If it is just a solid block, then that's totally fine, because I can use it for other things, like the interior of the roof. So in this tower, it actually got its roof completed, so that it's not just the underside of the warped wood, but it actually kind of provides some contrast. It lights it up a bit more. And so that tower got that, as well as this one. And so I think that looks really nice. It just makes it ever so slightly different, so when you're looking, you can kind of see more of the contrast between the calcite and the dark oak, as opposed to everything kind of being dark and shady and teal. So I think those are basically the things that I changed once the update came. I've been doing quite a bit of resource gathering from the update. So in here I've got some stuff, a lot of amethyst blocks, some of the different sized crystals, some of the deep slate ores, which are really cool looking, as well as quite a bit of deep slate and some of the calcite that was left over from those projects, as well as a few blocks of the tuff. And the deep slate confused me for a while, because you can't craft any of the deep slate variants from the deep slate block. It has to be from the cobbled deep slate. And so with mining it with Silk Touch, you get the deep slate blocks, but that doesn't have any recipes for it other than the block. But the cobbled deep slate is where you unlock all of the really awesome new blocks, and so that really confused me, and I was really disappointed, because I thought that Mojang hadn't added that yet, and we would have had to wait till part 2, which would have been kind of sad. So basically now I have to place all of these deep slate blocks down and then mine them with a non-Silk Touch pickaxe, so that I can get the cobbled deep slate. So pro tip, don't use Silk Touch when mining deep slate if you want to use it on the stone cutter. So at this point, I'm going to show you guys what I've done with the boats so far, and give you a little bit of briefing on what we're going to do in this episode to really finish off this area. So the main thing that I have worked on is the interior of the boats. So if you've seen the flybys and seen like tours and stuff with these, the exterior hasn't really changed at all. This platform got narrowed from being 4 blocks wide just to the 2, because I changed how this transitions into the boat. So this is actually a step so that you can get out that's part of the boat on both sides, because this actually hides some of the sea lanterns that make this area spawn-proof. So part of the goal in decorating the boats was also to make all of it spawn-proof, because just like the inside of the castle, or the inner courtyard, we want all of these areas to be as spawn-proofed as possible, because I think at some point I will be releasing villagers into this area that they can wander around, and so I don't want all of them just getting zombified on night one, and I don't want to have to be constantly ensuring that I'm always sleeping, because that is nearly impossible, because our friend Desert Scorpion, who is the ruler of the Kingdom of Night, doesn't actually come above the surface when it's daytime. And so if he's doing something on the surface, like one of the projects that he was just working on was actually making a map of all of our worlds so far. He did all of that at night, and so we wouldn't want to sleep and catch him in the daytime, because he's basically a phantom. So up here, this platform, this is already spawn-proof because it's a bottom half slab. And then we have the sea lanterns, and this was the only block that was light level 7. So I just threw a button down there because I didn't feel it was necessary to put a whole other sea lantern just so that one block could be lit up more. Behind all of the trapdoors are sea lanterns, so that's a really kind of classy looking way of spawn-proofing this area, because in the walls it kind of blends in or just adds some texture because you've got the changing depth. But then in the masts here, it's hidden and it just looks like this is more supported, which is pretty cool. So the first area that I'm going to show you guys is the captain's quarters. And so all these areas are pretty much done. I might add some more details as they come to me. So this area has a lot of candles. This is one of the things that I was most excited for with 1.17 was the candles, honestly, because they just give you so much more customization options with all the colors, and you can have multiple candles on the blocks, and so you can really just make it look different and add some color and add some light as well to your build without it costing too much, because all you need is the honeycomb and the string, and then if you want to make it colored, you just need that dye. The only thing that I had wished Mojang had done with the candles, because they can be placed kind of like the sea pickles where you can have up to 4 on one block, I really like that, but I wish that you could mix the colors, so you could have up to 4 different colored candles on a block. I can kind of see why they haven't done it. I don't know how difficult it would be to code into the game, but I guess it's kind of a similar idea of why we can't have 2 slabs of different colors together, where you can't like stack a birch slab and then complete the block with like a dark oak slab. I don't know if it would be the same as trying to code that in, but that would just be one of the touches that is so subtle, but I think it would really, really help to bring together like the final details of a build, just having those different colored candles available on the same block. So in the captain's quarters, we've got the bookshelves, all the candles, armor stand with some extra armor, the desk with book and quill, our bed, some chests. These patches of item frames, I'm gonna put some different maps of the world on. I haven't decided exactly what areas I'm gonna use yet. We have another book just in case, an ender chest, and a cartography table, and then obviously any good explorer needs a compass. So just kind of a few details in here that just help it kind of look busy. It helps to fill the space up quite a bit, and like all the other rooms, this is spawn proofed. The sea lanterns hang down there, which isn't my favorite thing, but I don't mind it a whole lot because there is so many other things happening. I don't think that they stick out very much. So with that, we can look at the other areas of the ship, which are all accessible through the front of the ship through here. So this is kind of our lunchroom, galley area where the crewmates can come and eat and relax. So we have our barrels of ale or rum there, and just barrels for storage. I'm gonna get some crops and some food resources and stuff and put them in these barrels so that it looks like they're getting ready to go out to sea. Just down the ladder is our kitchen. So we have our smoker and a bunch of counter space and storage for like cups and dishes, and then some storage for the food. So these areas are gonna get more detailed with items like on the countertops, but I didn't really want to spend a whole bunch of time doing that, just to show you guys real quick in the video. And then this is the crew quarters. So this actually has the hole in the middle that leads down to the cargo deck. So I added this rim around it so that you can't get into there from this part of the ship. And so here in the crew quarters, we have all of our beds and then chests for all the crew. So the cargo hold, you notice, is still lit with torches, and it's pretty devoid of things, aside from the occasional mob, but I think I've got it to where they won't spawn down here anymore. But this is actually what we're going to work on in today's video, is getting these cargo holds kind of filled up, or at least get an idea of what we want to fill them up with. And so the other ship over here is decorated basically exactly the same as the other one. So the captain's quarters in this one is mirrored from the other one, but it's still got all the same things. So it has the bookshelves, our desk with our book and quill. Instead of candles, we've got a lantern here, the bed, the chest, our places for our maps, our cartography table, and our compass. And then all the other things for like the galley, the kitchen, and our crew quarters and all of that stuff is exactly the same. And so this will kind of be a trend if I do end up making more of these like merchant vessels. They'll probably be exactly the same as these ones. If I make another type of ship, then it'll probably get its own custom design, but a lot of the elements will probably be the same as the ones on here. But I think this turned out really nice. I really like the details and the usage of the space. So if you guys have any ideas maybe for improvements or things that could be done differently, feel free to leave that in the comments. But what we're going to be working on in today's video to really finish off this area is on these side portions of the dock, so over here and then on the right side of that boat, so not in the middle here. I'm actually going to add some loading cranes that are going to be super simple to build, and basically everything in this shulker box will be what I need, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna just look at my reference picture real quick, just that I can remember exactly what it looks like, and then I'll just show you guys how to build it really quickly. This was a design that I threw together in probably about 5 minutes, and then messed around with it for probably about 5 minutes. And so it's definitely not like the most incredible thing ever, but it's really fast and easy, and I think it does work for what is the intention. Or actually, hold on. Let me confirm with the other guys online. If I can actually sleep, because we do have Desert Scorpion online. And he's working on stuff. Okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah, we've got Desert Scorpion online as well as Mr. Sparks, and I think Desert Scorpion was working on completing the map, which he has done, and I think he was actually recording a world tour, and I think now he's working on a library for his base. And then Mr. Sparks, he had an elytra, and he died in some incident that I'm not entirely sure of the details. So he was going back to the end to get another elytra. Looking this way actually reminded me, one of the things that has changed from the previous episode was I swapped the stripped jungle logs for regular jungle logs underneath these carts, and I think like there is still the same difference between the path blocks in this, where it's not an exact fit, but because they are darker, your eye is drawn more to the path than it is to the jungle logs, because the path is brighter, and so your eyes are going to go to the spaces that are brighter before they go to the spaces that are darker. And so if anything, this just kind of looks like shadows underneath the carts, and so to me it stuck out a lot less than the stripped jungle logs did, because just like a color for color comparison, I think the stripped logs match more, but they are brighter, and so to me as I was walking around the area it was a little distracting, and so I just swapped them out for the non-stripped logs, and I thought that really fixed the issue and made it really nice. So this crane is going to be based right here. So that's basically the finished crane. And then what I had on this one was just a birch log suspended. And so let me climb up on the boat here. And so I basically had the log, and then I put some spruce trap doors around it, so that, whoops, one more, so that it looked like it was kind of secured in the middle, but I need to remove this one so that it's actually a length that can kind of fit through the cargo hold doors. So I finish it off by just placing those there so that it looks like our log is suspended. Unfortunately, we can't place one on the top, but that's because I can't have the chain and a trapdoor in the same block. Basically it, and then we're essentially just going to mirror this on the other side. Trident guy. Let's see if we can get a trident from him. I feel like it's pretty unlikely. Here, let's use our looting sword. we did get the trident. Look at that. Dang, that's super cool. That's so awesome. And a gold ingot. Which they're not supposed to drop gold ingots anymore. They're supposed to drop copper ingots. Maybe it's because he's in some chunks that don't have the world gen of 1.17, but I totally did not expect to get that trident, but that was pretty cool. A+ for the looting sword. That was awesome. So I really like how this turned out. Super simple. Let's fly up here so that we can kind of see both of them. Here, let's go down to the wall because that's a more realistic view. But yeah, so pretty simple. I may play around with how the blocks are connected so that we have less of the floating blocks, but I don't really mind it a whole lot. Minecraft does force you to use your imagination for a lot of the things. So a lot of stuff you can't get 100% perfect, but you can get it close enough. Oh, that is not connected. I did not do something right. Oh, I didn't go up enough on that one. This is why you look at it from different angles, because looking at that from below, it does not seem like it has that issue. So we can really quickly just hop up here, and I'll remove those guys and fix that. And then this one just needs that removed. Cool. Yeah, so then now I can move up the grindstone and then put the chain on. Very cool. I don't have shears on me to mine wool faster. Alright, yeah, cool. So now that one's done. Sweet. So at this point, really all that's left with the boats is to fill up the cargo holds, and also put some more cargo on the docks here. I had to move the logs because when I originally put them there, I wasn't thinking of putting the crane on, but now I did, so I'll probably just move them a little bit out of the way. This one still needs its handles, so I'll probably throw down a bunch of that stuff, and then basically I'll probably just come back and show you guys the final product. So for me it's going to be a little bit of work, but for you guys it should happen really fast. So I just added a few things. The hay bales were already there. I moved the birch logs there. I added a sack of pumpkins to this side, as well as a crate of the purple wool. Like I said, I didn't add anything down the middle. I'm not sure if I'm going to add anything down the middle. I haven't quite decided because the cranes aren't on this side, so there really isn't. I feel like it'd be kind of weird to have a whole bunch of cargo stockpiled there. But on this side, I kind of did a similar idea but moved things around. So instead of pumpkins, you've got the melons on this side, the sack of hay bales, the logs, and the we've got some cyan wool this time instead of purple. And then on each of these, I'm putting string, which does not spawn proof, and I can confirm that it does not spawn proof because it was just nighttime and I was running over this way to get to the bed, and a creeper just spawned on a log as I looked over. So string doesn't spawn proof. There are some experiments. I think like Exumavoid of the Hermitcraft server did a video testing the effectiveness of string as a spawn proofing thing. But if it's true, it basically doesn't work on a super small scale, like just having like one piece of string down. You would need like dozens and dozens of pieces of string, and then basically like the stuff in the middle would be spawn proof. So I think I'm gonna spawn proof the area around the docks with like lamps, but I haven't quite decided on a design for those yet. So I'll probably add those in between this episode and next episode. And I basically just need them along this path as well as the other side, because like I said, the logs, the hay, and the melons, or like pumpkins on that side, are not going to be spawn proof. And so like not everything is 100% spawn proof yet, but most things are most of the way there that we've worked on so far. So I think that is something that is just going to get improved in between videos, because then I can just kind of show you guys the final product that I came up with, and go from there. So I think that is basically everything that we're going to work on in today's episode. That's all the time that we have for today's episode. If you haven't subscribed already, feel free to subscribe. Like the video if you liked it, leave a comment just to say hi or ask a question or whatever. But I'll see you guys in the next video.